Hello YouTube, BossSolidSnake here for episode 1 of Snakebite Game Reviews, which is a subsection of our SNG gamer vids. So this is basically my personal forum for giving my opinions on certain games, what I like about them, what I don't, and all that fun stuff. We'll go ahead and get started here with Tomb Raider, the big game. Everybody's talking about it. First off, I think it's a great game. I'll get that out of the way. I think it is a great game. The single player is awesome. It's got great characters, scenery, graphics, audio, the whole package. The single player is great. Probably one of the best I've ever played. And definitely an awesome reboot. Personally, I kind of like this version better than the original. Some may disagree with that, but, you know, whatever. Everybody's got their own opinion. So that's the good part. The single player is great, but that kind of leads into the bad part. The bad part is the multiplayer. The multiplayer is god-awful. It was forced. You can tell it was forced. It's one of those things that just got thrown in there, as with a lot of games, for the sake of saying, oh, this game has multiplayer. A marketing ploy. That's it. Just to try and make more money to draw in the people that like multiplayer. Unfortunately, you can tell that not a whole lot of thought went into the multiplayer modes. It's very generic, gets extremely boring after a while. Yet, if you're a trophy hunter trying to get your platinum, you're pretty much forced to play it because the platinum includes multiplayer trophies, which personally I think multiplayer trophies should be considered like add-on trophies and not actually count toward the plat, but it is what it is. And it wouldn't be as bad if the trophies themselves weren't that bad, which most of them aren't. I mean, you go through the single player, most of that's just collecting stuff and all that, and that's not that bad. There are a few that are more difficult than the others that require a little extra work, but that's to be expected. But when you get to the multiplayer trophies, some of them are kind of dumb, but at the same time, not that bad. You know, nothing out of the ordinary that you wouldn't really expect. The main problem is with one particular trophy called Shopaholic, which requires that you buy all the upgrades for the weapons and all of the unlockable characters, which in and of itself sounds, you know, normal until you look a little closer. And the further you look, the more flaws you see in the multiplayer setup. By which, I mean, you go through the characters, and the level cap is at level 60. So you have Laura that is unlockable at 60, which makes sense. She's the main person from the game, so you'd figure, okay, you're going to make it all the way to 60 to unlock her. Fine, that makes sense. Unfortunately, though, Lara is not the last unlockable character. If you switch factions over to the Solari, the last unlockable character is the Stormguard General. And in order to get him, you have to be at Prestige 3, which means you have to go through and level through this horribly put together multiplayer 3 times just to get him. But it gets worse. Because of the way they have things set up, the upgrades reset every time you prestige. Not just having to re-unlock weapons or anything, but you have to re-buy the upgrades every single time. Which means, in order to unlock all of them, you have to play through again up to, I believe it's like level 58. So essentially you practically have to prestige 4 times just to get this one trophy. Now, having to go through it once is bad enough, because that is one of the other trophies. There's one for just hitting level 60, which is fine. That makes sense to make you go up to the level cap. That's fine. But making you have to play through it and prestige almost 4 times just to get the one trophy is ridiculous. That's my opinion on it. I've talked to other people who share this opinion and think it was ill-conceived on multiple levels. And another prime example of why multiplayer should not be considered like a must in games, which it's gotten to that point where it's pretty much expected that a game's gonna have multiplayer. And because of that, the game companies feel obligated to shove one in there, even if they've put like practically zero thought into it. They'd be like, okay, we'll just slap a few rounds together, make a couple extra maps, and we're good. I'm sorry, but that just is not how things should be done. But it is what it is, I guess, and not much can be done about it unless people kind of have to revolt and be like, hey, we're tired of the shitty multiplayer. If you're gonna do it right. Otherwise, leave it out. It doesn't have to be in there. If you've got a good enough story mode or single player, whatever your single player mode is, campaign, whatever you want to call it. If it's good enough that it can stand alone, let it stand alone. You don't have to force online play just for the sake of trying to make a few extra bucks. In the long run, it hurts the quality of the game. Now, in this particular case, I like the story mode so much that I'm willing to overlook the BS of the multiplayer and still give this game a good rating. I would still give this game a solid 9 out of 10, but that is entirely based on the single player. If I was going to give a separate grade for the multiplayer, it would be like 2 out of 10 because it just sucks that badly. And because I'm frankly pissed off about that trophy and how horribly conceived it was. And the fact that they only made it a bronze trophy for all that bullcrap that you have to go through to get it. It should at least be a gold if they're going to make you go through all this crap just to get it. But again, at the end of the day, this is my personal opinion. Some may agree with it, some may not, but it's my opinion. Do with it what you will. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. We will be back next time. I'm going to kind of go retroactive here. I've got a couple other games I've played recently that I have some things to say about, so we'll go ahead and do some episodes on those before I start getting to newer stuff. But for now, I'm going to sign off. So we'll see you later, YouTube. Remember, game on.